You know, I'm an avid exerciser, and that's where I find my peace. That's where I find a lot of times that I can run, I can pray, I can think, I can do a lot of things while I'm out there pounding the pavement. But sometimes I think about the first guy to walk across America or to document it was a guy named Peter Jenkins. And there's a lot of things happened to him tragically throughout his walk across America. He was hit by a car, his dog got ran over, he had storms hit him, he had to sleep at night, in bad places. There were so many things that happened to him, but when they asked him in the book, they asked him in the interview, what almost broke you? What almost made you turn around and go back and just stop? And he said, the one thing that bugged me the most, that almost made me quit, was when I'd get just a little hindering grains of sand in my shoes. Those little nagging pieces of sand, those little grains. And I think about that because usually the big things in our life, they end up growing us closer to each other and to God, like the cancers and the heart attacks. But you get something like high blood pressure, what do? You take a pill and you move on. The big things, they move us closer. But the little things, anything that affects you in your walk with life is important. Anything. Sand is just a little grain. It's just a small blowing grain. But you get enough of them blowing around, and they can eat away a whole mountain. See, it's not like the heat and the cold. It's those tiny grains of sand, those sand grains in our life. I remember going to the beach with my family, and my wife would tell my son, you can't come in the house with that sand on your feet. You got to get it all washed off. And he'd try, and he couldn't do it. But eventually, he'd turn around and say, Daddy, can you hold the hose for me so I can wash my feet? Can you help me out? Can you get all this sand off so it won't bug me? He needed help from his daddy to make it happen, to get it all off. And I'd hold the hose, and he'd hold it for me, and we'd go on. You see, that's what God wants us to do sometimes, but all we have to do is just ask Him for that little bit of help. We can only wash our feet so much without asking the Father to clean us up for the things in our life that aren't right. See, because it's not the big things that take you down. It's not that one cookie that takes you off of this program or kills your program. It's not that one beer that sends you off into alcoholism. It's not that one flirt that you did in the office that puts you in a place where you shouldn't be with someone of the opposite sex. It's when you continually let that feed in that it's going to bring you down. And when you don't wash it up or clean it up, eventually it's going to eat away the very foundation that makes you and what you were made of. And you were made for greatness, and that you can't let anything stop that. So it's time to clean your feet a little bit. But after you're done cleaning your feet, guess what you got to do? You got to grab that hose and turn around. After you say, can you help me clean mine? You got to grab that hose and turn around and clean somebody else's feet. Because we can't do it by ourselves. Y'all stay strong. I'm Chris.